Hello, today I'm going to be showing you how to make custom maps for Besiege using Sprout. To load a Sprout map, it's pretty simple. So you have a workshop map, this one, uses Sprout. All I do to load it, double click, and boom. Now the cool part about Sprout is that it lets you import custom 3D models. As you can see, these are our available models, and these are not in the game. You do this by using a seed and a pointer object. And the seed has some options. Ignore this ignored by drone thing, that's for a different mod. Here we have our directory of our source files. These are asset bundles. And I'm going to show you how to compile an asset bundle so that you can load your asset bundle into Besiege. It's pretty simple. Just to show off the map for a real second. You can make some really big stuff. It runs really well. 60 FPS. All fine and dandy. Alright, so we're going to be doing this in Unity 5.4. I created a new project in Unity 5.4 using Unity Hub 5.4 OF3. And I have a file in the assets folder called editor. It has a CS file called ExportAssetBundles. And I got this from the Sprout dev. And it is going to allow us to export, obviously, our asset bundles. Now, what kind of assets are we going to export? Well, I would use terrain. If you're making maps, you're going to want to import a map. So, where are we going to get a map from is the next following question. And I make my maps. So, yeah, I think the best program for making custom 3D models is going to be Blender. It's free. If you know something else and you're more familiar with it, go ahead and use it. But if you're not, you can make really cool stuff, such as, well, anything you want. These are, this is a level for a different game. It's levels. It's not too hard, and there's plenty of tutorials on 3D modeling, but for a terrain map such as Besiege, I would create a new project. I'm going to delete the source cube. I'm going to press Shift A. I'm going to create a mesh, and Control, I have to edit it with tab mode, go to the faces, not E. Is it Control E? Shift E? This is what Blender's, always press F3 and just subdivide. Control E, something like that. And then you're going to subdivide this mesh into like 1,000 little pieces. It's only going to let us do 100, unless we subdivide it again. And I'm going to include some tutorial links for creating meshes and such, but a quick example would be by using a height map. You would go over and you would use this thing called the displace tool, and you would find an image on your computer, like a new texture. And I'm not the most fluent. Yeah, here's a height map. So it's like a black and white height map, and you can find these in City Skylines map generator. This website right here will generate height maps from anywhere on Earth, which is a really good place. But there's also other ways to make terrain. You don't have to copy the Earth, but it's a really easy way to do it. If you press tab to get out of edit mode, you can see what the height map's going to look like. And do we go back to this? You can kind of like adjust the strength of your height map, the mid-level, stuff like that. And when you want to apply it, you'd press apply. Now this other things in our scene, we don't really need them. And so to export such a height map to Besiege, I'm going to export it as an FVX file, and I'm going to find the directory of my assets folder, and I'm just going to save it to my assets folder as this, not Besiege. And assets, are you here? Hello? Test, FBX, users, engine. Oh, it's outside my assets folder. What are you doing? Okay. Now, boom. It's as easy as that to put it in Unity. And it'll show some properties here. And if you want to enable colliders when you export this mesh, now this mesh has no textures, obviously, but say we wanted to enable colliders, you would go over here and you would click Generate Colliders, you press Apply, and now when you import this into Besiege, it's going to have colliders with it, instead of being completely passed through. But you don't always want... you see this has a lot of polygons, and if your model has a lot and you're going to be placing a lot of them, you don't want to calculate that many colliders. So what I will do, not with maps but with other 3D objects, I'm going to create a cube as a child object, and I'm going to scale the cube to be the size of the hitbox that I would like the object to have. Now if this was like a little tiny map, it would have a hitbox like this. Now we don't want the hitbox to be visible, and the only ways to make it never visible is to remove the mesh renderer. Now it is a child of the terrain. You can move the terrain around, it's going to have this, and the cube by default has a box collider. So this is going to be a much more efficient way of generating colliders for your map if you're going to include a lot of assets, but don't do this with your terrain. I just did this because I don't have another asset to show you. I'm going to delete it and turn colliders back on, and I'm going to show you how to export it. I'm going to go to the asset bundle thing down here. When you click on your import, actually it likes it in prefab form. So you take this test, you bring it down here, and you've created a prefab. That's different than the raw file. It's a Unity prefab. It's going to like reference the game. I don't know what I'm talking about. You're going to create a new asset bundle. I'm just going to call it test. It doesn't matter what you call it. Its name is never going to be brought up again. You have to select the objects you would like to export. Go to Assets, Export Asset Bundle down here. Export Asset Bundle, Windows, Mac, Linux. I'm on a Windows machine. I'm going to be making this for Windows. Other Windows machines. So I'm going to select Windows. Now, save Asset Bundle. This is where this little folder, no, this is spawn point. This is the seed. Seed. Load Asset Bundle. Why am I using this level when I could be using a new one? Load Asset Bundle. See, this is where you would type in the name, but it hasn't been put in there yet. So I have to open the directory here. I'm going to yet again copy this directory. And we're going to save the asset bundle to this directory. I'm going to call it tutorial. All files is what it likes to be called. And now it is in here, tutorial.allfiles. You would have to type in .allfiles into Besiege unless you rename it. Also, the tutorial.allfiles.manifest is going to show you all of your assets inside of the package. Down here, it's going to tell you what they're called. Test.prefab. Now, the only thing you're going to put in is this test part right here. Actually, assets.test. Yes, it's referencing this right here. The asset, the save file is called tutorial. That's why this asset bundle down here, this never gets used. It's this name that is used, the object of this prefab name. No, I should be more clear. You're going to type in tutorial into here. Tutorial. Apply. Into the seed. It loads tutorial. And now you're going to go to the pointer, and you're going to load prefab, and you're going to type in test, because test is like what we exported. Oh my goodness, it doesn't work. Does it? No. No, it doesn't. This happens a lot, believe it or not. But never permanently. Usually, I don't know what it is, if it needs to reload this mod folder. I don't think that's the case. It's definitely not. But sometimes reloading the game helps. Because I did export it, right? Yeah, it's in there. Load asset. This. Ah, there it goes. See, what is it with restarting the game? Anyways, it's super duper 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 tiny. I don't know why, but it is. You have to like calibrate it. So I'll show you that step. We don't want to scale up all of our assets every single time we import them. Now this thing is obviously freaking huge. And you look at that, look, it's got colliders. Easy as that. Drive around, do whatever. Here, let's... Simple. You know, don't be that discouraged when it just doesn't work the first time. I don't know why. Sometimes the game likes to be restarted. Anyways. So it needs to be calibrated. The size. It's because it's huge. That's the seed, correct? Now where's the map? You can, if you're using Kaleidoscope, you can see... Oh, it's huge because I scaled it massive, isn't it? Uh-oh. Oh my goodness, you see these numbers down here? Scaled to like 70,000. 70,000, that's a little bit greater. We want to keep it at 1. 1 is great. So how are we going to do this? Simply, well, exiting works here. You're going to go to Unity. You're going to go to this test. The scale factor up here. 70,000. Now, whatever size that it is in game, in the scene, I mean, this scale up here, whatever this, it doesn't matter. The prefab scale down here doesn't matter. The only thing I've noticed that matters is this scale factor in the import settings. Anyways, select, test, export, asset bundles, go to the directory, save it as tutorial. Go back to level editor. You can only place 1 seed per level. Load asset bundle. Not you can only place, but you can only use. Boom. Okay, that's much bigger, which is good. Much bigger. And sideways. Sideways, not so much of an issue. Simple as that. And so any other objects that you would like to place, the reason why I don't scale these up is because their spheres get kind of big and obnoxious, and you can see that it like resets its size. It's not a very big fan of that. And so when you save the level and then reload it, the scale seems to get reset. So keeping it at 1 is good. And texturing, I'm not really going to show you how to texture. There's plenty of tutorials on that in Blender and Unity. What else could I teach you? I was gonna show you how to like load or transfer a level. Say you've got a bunch of items placed. When you have like a ton of items or pointers that are referencing objects, and you delete the seed, and say I wanted to change the seed, you can delete the seed and they stay there. It's because they haven't been reloaded yet. I deleted the seed, I saved the level, and I'm going to load the level. And now the level is empty. All the pointers remain in their place with their appropriate assets. And I'm going to place the new seed to load. I'm going to load it. Now loading the new seed doesn't load all the new assets. But if you save it, and then load the game, the map, again, oh, this is the wrong one. Although it's going to look like the exact same result. Whoops, sorry about that. As you can see here, this was the one I was just transferring, and now I load it again. It loaded all of the assets with the new seed. That's kind of how you like swap seeds without having to manually re-enable every single one of these pointers. If you have placed a lot of them, it gets pretty annoying. And I think that is all. If you have any questions, you can DM me on Discord, ClywieDog, in the official Besiege Discord, and I hope you have fun making crazy, big, efficient, fun maps to play with your friends. That's all.